You're late.
Seismic fans, we now present the Venator. Venator comes from the Latin word meaning hunter. The Tennessee core is our most advanced core design to date. It is designed with consistency in mind. The core shape is modeled to allow for drilling with a strong pin placement and positive spin axis while reducing the amount of inner core material being removed. In turn, this reduces how much the ball's pre-drilled design specifications change after drilling. Pre-drilled, the Venator has a 35% stronger positive spin axis than the very successful horn core. The Tennessee core produces a high mass bias differential with more flare and mid-lane read than we've ever released. This video shows the Venator picking up its role in the mid lane and making a strong move to the pocket. In the true spirit of a hunter, the Venator makes its move attacking with strength and power, leaving the enemy simply devastated. Put the Venator in your hand and hold out. Seismic bowling. Earth-moving equipment.
Good morning and welcome to the 27th Irish Open 10-pin Championships, live from the Leisureplex in Dublin, Stillorgan, Dublin. Do that again, I just had the wrong mic on then. Welcome to everybody that's joining us on the chat this morning, to Dave Harmon, the Harmonizer. And on your featured pair this morning, Chris Morn, Andrea E. Hansen and Lol Ellis, Lollipop Ellis, as we like to call him, or Laugh Out Loud Ellis. Bowled well on the TV pair yesterday, did Lol. I think he shot about a 220, 230. And he's opened up with a couple of spares. Chris Morn with a strike, 7-2 strike. And Andrea Hansen with a couple of splits, 6-3, and then a 8 split spare. And just comes up a little bit high, leaves 2 in the corner. So we'll be with you all day. A couple more squads and Desperado to come. And then we'll be into the 2-stage final step 1 and final step 2 today. So a busy day's bowling. My partner in crime this week, Simon Sheppers from Dutch Bowling TV, doing technical support this week and doing an awesome job. Couldn't have done it without him. He's out on the lanes on 7 and 8. We'll get a look at Simon at some point. He started off brightly though with a front 3. A few other players to mention on the lanes at the moment: Gary Redpath, Paul McCauley, Greg Marcus, Tony O'Hare, Vitautas Gikis, Peter Lyburn, Kev Horton, Ophir Hall. Who else we got? Aidan Byrne, Patrick Yannick Sorensen, Tanya Yusuf, Gavin Fox down there on 1 and 2, the stylish Irish lefty. Keep your comments and chat coming in. Please spread the web address on Facebook and your social networks. And remember the hashtag Irish Open. Had quite an exciting end to the day's play yesterday when we saw our first 300 game on the TV pair, 9 and 10, from Jason Agate, Seismic staffer, bowled it in front of his boss Ryan Press, and on the Seismic lanes. 12 perfect strikes as well. It was a good one. Nearly didn't happen as well. Jamie Bottomley, the defending champion, was stuck in England after delays and cancelled boats, and he was carrying the bowling balls for about 7 other players, so they were all sweating for the squad last night. Didn't think they would make it into the squad in time, but luckily they did. The other players graciously delayed the squad a little bit, just to allow the defending champion that honour of making it here, as you would expect from the sportsmanship of the Irish and the internationals here this week. Current leader at the moment, Chris Sloan, tied with Glenn Morton Pedersen from Norway. Both players on 15-17, a 252 average. Amanda Larkin in third with 14-49. In fourth place, Alan McDonnell with 14-11. And then Paddy Dunn in fifth with 14.06. Players up the top end of the leaderboard include Brian Voss, Billy Nimick, Ryan Press, and more. You can get all the results from talktemping.net and also the official website tempingbowling.ie. Also linked through Badass Bowling. And it promises to be an exciting day. So we'll keep the camera on the featured pair for a little bit. But we've got Simon Sheppers on the front 5 on 7 and 8, just to the left of us. You might be able to pick up a little bit of that. Patrick Yannick Sorensen with a spare 4-bagger on a 280 pace. Also on 7 and 8. Actually wearing a really nice DV8 pink and black shirt, which I've also got on. The same shirt. Although he's got DV8 on his, I've got DV8 Diva on mine. As you do. So Simon Sheppers adds another one. for front 6. And Lollipop Ellis picks up his single pin there. So there you go, and my beautiful face. Hello. And thanks again for joining us this morning. We will have a few guests very shortly. Try and get a couple of interviews. So Andre E. Hansen with 83 in the 5th. Chris Moore with 76 in the 5th. And Lollipop Ellis with 78 in the 4th, with a spare working in the 5th. Emudgy 2000 out there in Spain says Lol Ellis now has a 6-step approach. Discuss. I never noticed actually. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it does. 6-step approach. You know, I don't know if I've ever seen a 6-step, oh, I've seen a 26-step approach. I've seen a few people walk up with a lot of steps, but it's not your average approach, 6-step. We've had one player, one of the Belgian. We've had one of the Danish players, I think, or the Norwegian players on a 3-step approach. Plenty on 4 and 5. Yeah, but Lol looks like he takes little baby steps and smooth all the way through. Yeah, Lol in again for a double. I don't know about you guys out there, but I used to change my steps depending on the state of the lanes. Back in the old days, your lanes were either reasonably quick or bone dry. So when they were quick, I would go down to 4-step, and when they were dry, I'd go up to 5-step, just to add that extra pace. I've seen Chris Barnes bowl 3-step before in major championships as well. So Simon Shepherd's run of strikes ends with a 6 spare in frame 7. So on a 276 pace. In other news yesterday, Chris Sloan, who's the current leader, went up to Alsa for the drop-in singles and promptly bowled back-to-back 300s and a 261 average over 5 games. Won himself a fair few euros, I believe. 800 euros or more, I think. Patrick Meeker from the Netherlands also up there came second and won himself 400 euros. Oh! Stone 9 there from Morney. So Simon Shepherd's, after his 6th spare, comes back with a strike, so still on that 276 pace. Patrick Yannick Sorensen with 175 in the 7th, with a spare working in the 8th. Those two are the pick of the players at the moment. Andrea Hansen with a 10th frame to go can tap out for a 208. And Lol Ellis up in this foundation frame, 9th frame. Drills the pocket for a strike. Seems to have a new lease of life over the last couple of years. Lol, he's always been a good bowler. He's up there on the senior tour now and loving his bowling and playing really well. And winning, more to the point. So just coming up to the end of this first game. And Marnie picks up his baby split. He's going to finish with a 162 with a strike, but 3 disappointing opens in there. Otherwise, not a bad game. He's had a 7-2, an 8-1, and a 6-3. And ends with a strike. Marnie, 162. Simon Shepherd's adds another one in the 9th. So still on that 276 opening pace. Unable to see the scores further down. We've got the old type monitors here, and if you look at them from an angle, it can be difficult to see exactly what's on the screen. It's quite small scoring. And a split in the 10th for Simon. That's going to ruin a very good game. Let's slide it across, mate. You can do it. And takes the 1. So 220 for Patrick Sorensen and a 242 for Simon Shepherd's. Good game, but he's going to be disappointed. He's lost 30 sticks there. Lol Ellis with a spare and a strike will give him 207. We've had a few standout performances on the featured pair on 9 and 10. Not least the 300 last night. But we've had a couple of 270s and 280s and stuff. Everybody gets on the TV screen, and some of them raise the game and some of them freeze a little bit. It's not a particularly bad pair by any stretch. It's actually one of the better pairs. But you get that option of, I've got a camera on me. Oh no, I'm going to tighten up a bit. So Lowell finishes with 204. Donna Horton with a 182. Vitautas Gaikis with a 201. So welcome to Hawley, Madge Perez, Mudgy, Off Shunan, Peter Burt and more on the chat. come on in, say hello, let us know where you are. Let us know who you think's going to win. Let us know who you want to win. I'll take this chance to ask to thank our sponsors this year. Their headline sponsor, Seismic. And then the lane sponsors, Mayo at Home, TGR Fridays, Rock Jewelers, Crumlin Print, Eco Hygiene, Cool Tech Refrigeration, Dublin Food Sales, Frylight, Glenealy Foods, Mayo, Starbucks, Stillorgan Orchard and Stillorgan Park Hotel. Thank you very much for your kind support this year, everybody. If you would like to be a sponsor of this tournament, just get in touch with Sean Kennedy at Stillorgan. Next year, hopefully, we'll open up the advertising to include videos from whoever wants them on there. The sponsors pay good money for the masking unit space. They can also have video adverts during the stream. And we're going to go off to one of those videos now. So here's a message from our sponsors.
I'm so happy to see you.
Seismic fans, we are now introducing the latest addition to the Tournament Special Edition line, the Euphoric TSE. The Euphoric TSE features the Overb core technology and the very durable and versatile Tournament Special Edition cover stock. The Euphoric TSE is polished with a radius of gyration of 2.55 and a differential of 0.055, creating 4 to 5 inches of flare potential. This is the 4th addition to the TSE line. This cover stock is proven to provide predictable ball motion characteristics while minimizing loss of reaction due to oil absorption, translating to higher strike percentages for longer periods. By adding this cover stock to the very successful Overb core featured in the Euphoric, we've created the combination of control of a symmetric core along with the strong continuation of the TSE cover. In a side-by-side comparison, you'll see the original Euphoric begin to start its transition to the hook phase earlier than its TSE counterpart. The TSE conserves its energy through the front and mid part of the lane, then releases its power at the breakpoint and all the way through the pins. The Euphoric TSE is the perfect benchmark ball for your typical league condition. Build your arsenal on this great ball. Control, consistency, continuation. Seismic bowling, simply devastating.
So back then and on to our featured pair. We have Alex Fraser, Michael McCall and Jamie Alder. If you've just joined us, you're watching the 27th Irish Open by Seismic, live from the Leisureplex in Stillorgan, Dublin, Ireland. Getting through to the business end of the tournament now, last few squads, and then we've got the Desperado and the first two final steps today. Thanks to everyone that's joined us on the stream this morning. Please spread that web address as far and wide as you can. Just watching some of the stream myself. A little bit dark on the featured pair, but we're going to see if we can rig some lighting up just to brighten it up for the finals on Sunday. Not too bad. What we could do with it being a little bit better, just to pick up the faces a bit better, but it's not too bad. I'm quite happy with the quality of the stream this week. First time we've used this laptop for the streaming, and it seems to be handling it quite well. The scores on the doors can all be found on the official website and also via Talk 10 Pin Badass Bowling. And keep your eye on the social networks for all the comments coming through from the Irish Open this week. One of the most popular tournaments in and around Europe for the last 27 years. A big favourite with the Norwegians and a lot of the Scandinavians. The English always like to come over for the crack. And it's a tale of two tournaments, really. You've got the tournament at the centre, and then you've got the social aspect of the event. The players all like to float between here and the pub across the road, Boland's. I went in over there over the last couple of days just to see what it's like, and your typical charming Irish pub. One of those pubs where you go in and there's stuff everywhere. Stuff's on the roof and on the walls, and pictures, records, all sorts of things. As the players were saying, every time you go in there's something new there. There's even an X-Wing fighter just above the bar for you Star Wars fans. So our featured pair, Jamie Alder opens up with 3 spares. 2 opens and a strike for Alex Fraser, and split open, spare, and a split for Michael McCall. We'll spin between the 2 cameras for this game, so I'll give you a look at a few players. You see Chelsea van der Laar from the Netherlands, just at the right of your screen, getting ready to go up in a moment. Mark Ellis also on the lanes in blue there, with the towel over his shoulder. A little bit cold in Ireland for the last couple of days. Thursday was wild, very windy and very cold going outside. And a bit brighter today. It's sunny out there, but it's still cold. I'm sat at the back shivering a little bit. But the players are all in the shirts and warming up nicely on the lanes. come over this side of the house and you can see Simon Shepherd, Aidan Byrne, Patrick Yannick Sorensen and Donna Horton in action on 11 and 12. For those of you interested in live streaming out there, if you fancy doing a little bit yourself, you can contact me at dom@talktemping.net. I'll offer you any advice you need. Yeah, so if you fancy doing a bit of live streaming in your country or your local tournament or whatever, it's pretty easy to do. You just need a laptop, a camera and a mic, really. Or a laptop and a camera is enough to get the pictures. You don't have to spend the earth on streaming. My setup is less than £1,000 and 800 of that was the laptop, so you can't beat a bit of eBay and cash converters. You can pick up a good HD camera now. I got a Canon Legia. That was only 60 quid. HD camera. 50 quid for a Microsoft Live Cam. And another 50 quid for a mixer, a USB mixer. And then we're using better mics this week, but 3 mics for 20 quid from Maplin. Doesn't have to cost the earth. And all the people that would love to see bowling on TV a bit more often, why? We don't need TV companies anymore, we can do it ourselves. A few streaming teams out there in Europe. One of the first to do it, obviously, was the PBA with extra frame. And then in Europe, it was Oscar Palermo's dad, Timo, was one of the trailblazers and pioneers of live streaming in Europe. John Egan and myself on Talk Temping started doing it. And then we were out in Malta, and Marco Landman from the Netherlands came up. What are you doing? Yeah, we're live streaming. Ah, all right. Can I come on? We ended up doing probably the first twin language stream. Marco was doing it in Dutch and I was doing it in English. And Marco liked it that much. Went on to form Dutch Bowling TV. Teamed up with Simon Shepherd for the technical support of it. The federation out there in the Netherlands invested heavily in cameras and equipment, and they're doing some great work out there. The other streaming team really is probably USBC's Lucas Wiseman, and also the king of live streaming, the master, the one we all look up to, Flavio Cuva from Bowling Digital. If you've never seen a Flavio video or stream, you've not lived. He just pushes the boundaries of what's possible, especially with the slow-mos that he does, super slow-mos videos, and he's like the Mr. Miyagi for the rest of us. But this is the future, folks. This is how we promote our sport, by having as much live streaming as possible. And the way to make that work and cost effective is to do what we're doing this week, have some adverts in there and show everybody else you don't need to spend money on a masking unit anymore. You can have your videos played out to the world. So on a featured pair, Jamie Alder with a 4-bagger in frames 4 through 7, 54 in the third. The pick of the 3 players, Alex Fraser on 136 in the 7th, Michael McCall on 90 in the 6th. But we're actually on 11 and 12 at the moment watching. And we have Simon Shepherd yet again on a 279 pace. Split open in the 10th of the last game, cost him a 270 plus. Ended up with 242. He's bowling well again this morning. Aidan Byrne on 96 in the 6th. Patrick Yannick Sorensen after a bright start, 87 in the 5th. And Donna Horton on 94 in the 5th. Coming up on the featured pair next, looks like we've got Brian Gillespie, Gavin Fox, Chelsea van der Laar, and who's the other one? Can't see the name from here. I'll give you a little bit of history of this tournament. 1989, the first winner, Chris Buck from England. And going through the male winners to start with. In 90 it was Gomersall, 91 it was Del Delaney. In 92 it was Marcel van der Bosch. 93 Nico Tienpont. 94 Jeff Buck, 95 Nut Hansen, 96 Tore Torgerson, 97 Thomas Lee Anderson, 98 Keith Hodge, and 99 Lee Anderson again. 2000 Mattias Erup of Sweden. 2001 Peter Allen, also Sweden. 2002 Wim van der Veen, Netherlands. 03 was Paul Evans Jr. 04 was Stuart Williams. 05 Paul Moore. 06 Sven Roger Olsen from Norway. In 07 it was Nick Frogger. In 08 Dom Barrett. And in 09 Paul Moore again. And then in 2010 and 2011 Dom Barrett. 2012 Brian Voss. 2013 the only Irish winner so far, Barry Foley. And last year's winner, Jamie Bottomley, the left-hander from England. As for the women, the first female champion in 1990, Kimberly Coote, also known now as Kimberly Oakley. In 91 it was Gina Wardle, 92 Pauline Smith, now Pauline Buck. 93 was Tracy Dew. And 94, Pauline Buck won it again, or Pauline Smith at the time. 95 was Anne Jacobs from South Africa. 96, Lena Sulkinen from Denmark, and Sharon Lowe from Malaysia in 97. Sulkinen won it again in 98. And then in 99 from Sweden, Jessica Olsen. 2000, Janne Helm from Denmark. Lisa John in 01. 02 was Asa Waterland from Sweden. And then Kirsten Penny won it in 03 and 04. Victoria Sofkova from Sweden in 05. Laura Roney from Scotland in 06. Karina Dykes won it in 07 and 09. And in 08 it was Ghislaine van der Tol from the Netherlands. Cassie Staudinger, now Cassie Barrett from Australia in 2011. 2012 Hayley White, now Russell. And 2013 was Zara Giles. 2014 Hayley Rumkey. And the previous two female winners, Zara Giles and Hayley Rumkey, won this tournament, and then the following year had their first child. So an open frame in the 8th for Simon Sheppers, 174 in the 8th. Just stepping up there in the 9th, big shot strike. 224 for Alex Fraser on the board now, and a 209 on 9 and 10 as they just finish. Chris Morn has bowled a lot better in this game with a 225. Lol Ellis also with a 226 if he strikes. Billy Nimick, probably Northern Ireland's best ever player. He's on 208 in the 8th. And Terje Christiansen, big run of strikes there, 7 in a row in frames 5 through 2 in the 10th. Can tap out for a 258. Another run of strikes there for Brian Gillespie, down on 5 and 6. Run of 4 in a row. I think he can tap out for a 250 as well. So just coming up to the end of game 2. Billy Nimick adds another one, first one in the 10th, so another 2 for a 258. Billy had a good block yesterday. Up and down block really, but it's still a good block. He bowled games of 210, 290, and then 176, 233, 278, 187 for 1374. But probably the most consistent run of games so far has been the two Irish youngsters, Chris Sloan, 255, 279, 246, 244, 246, 247 for 15-17. And Amanda Larkin with 257, 245, 235, 214, 205, 245 for 14-49. But Glenn Morton Pedersen splitting those two at the moment with 290, 289 opened with, and then 218, 255, 228, 237 for 15-17. But probably one of the standout performances yesterday was a guy just sat next to me at the moment. And that was Jason Agate, who opened up with 190, 186 I think, and then promptly shot 12 in a row, 300. And after a shaky start of those first two games, ended up with 1400. Also bowled a 278 or 9 further on in the block. 2:13 for Scott Connolly from Scotland. 2:33 for Simon Shepherd. Sticks him on about 75 over. Keep your comments and chat coming in. Brian Gillespie's going to finish with a 2:42. 2:40 possibly, because he's got a big split there. Yeah, 2:40. And last up to finish will be Donna Horton on 11 and 12. So while the players walk around a little bit, we'll go to a message from our sponsors. So don't go away.
Hey Seismic fans, Seismic Sean here again to introduce you to the latest member of our lineup, the Venator Pearl. The Venator Pearl features a polished pearl reactive cover, emerald and gold in color, and that Tennessee core that you've come to know and love. This layout gives me clean through the front and the mid part of the lane and gives me a strong accelerated arcing motion on the back end. Let's take a look at this ball motion. Clean through the fronts and mids, aggressive on the back end, and devastating to the pits. In a side-by-side comparison, you can see the Venator Pearl allows me to make my move and get further down the lane before unleashing that aggressive back-end reaction from the Tennessee core. The Pearl cover provides more options when the lanes go through transitions, allowing me to play more angles to the pocket. Simply put, the lanes are no match for the Venator Pearl.
And we're back. Welcome to the 27th Irish Open by Seismic, live from the Leisureplex in Stillorgan, Dublin, Ireland. Into game 3 of this first squad of the day. And on your featured pair in a moment, we will have Chelsea van der Laar, Gavin Fox, Brian Gillespie and Paul Gregg. There we go. So Chelsea opens up with a strike, Gavin with a strike, Gillespie with a 10 pin, and Paul Gregg with a 7 count. And welcome to Supermo on the chat. He's talking about Lol Ellis and his 6-step approach. He's heard he's doing trials for Villa and they need somebody with a bit of fancy footwork. Mo Singleton out there in the UK. Thanks for joining us, Mo. I presume it's Mo Singleton. It's not Mo Teese, is it? Gavin Fox in the pocket for a double. Stylish lefty and a former EYC medalist. And had about 20 years off playing. 18 years off, I think, and then came back the last few years. And you look at his style, you think, why did you go anywhere else? He's really nice, smooth, left-handed style. And another left-hander here, Chelsea van der Laar from the Netherlands. Also very stylish. And Mo says, good morning, just looking for some tips for our trip to Reims next week. Yeah, you senior tour bowlers are gallivanting across Europe all the time. Looks quite an exciting tour. I've got another 6 years or so before I'm eligible for seniors. And I've always said, and I always will say, I'm not going to play seniors until Ron Oldfield retires. There's no way I'm giving Ron Oldfield pins. So Gavin Fox working a double, Brian Gillespie with a spare strike on this featured pair. Paul Gregg with a spare strike and Chelsea with a strike, spare and 6 count. Supermo, I thought you were available now. Well, if I was 50 then I'd have a baby face. Now I'm 45 this year. So at least another 5 years to go. That's if my back holds on that long, and I'm not playing at the moment, so that gives me 5 years to get some practice in. I don't play anymore because I want to win all the time, and when you can't give that dedication to it, it's all or nothing. So the stylish Gavin Fox picks up his single pin. I might have a crack at a couple of senior events though. It looks fun. I can join the Blue Rinsk Brigade. Kel Roald Monson starts with the first 4. Brian Gillespie from Scotland leaves a single pin. Should we have commentary in Scottish this morning for a bit of fun? So Gillespie gets up again and he gets his spare. That was great. Who are you looking at? So Foxy on a 279 pace. Gillespie on a 280 pace. Mudgy 2000 on the chat there. Speaking about the seniors, had many discussions about what the fair handicap system is for seniors. It's a difficult one. Because you get players like Ron Oldfield that it doesn't matter how old he is, he's still good. And then you end up giving him pins, but you've got to have something. You maybe just have to have divisions and it goes on average divisions and you work it that way, but I don't know. I think to be fair with the senior tour, you've got at least half of them that they're there to win, they're there to make money and all the rest of it, but then you've got another half that it's a purely social thing. If you win, you win. If you don't, you don't. But you're enjoying it all the same, which is pretty much what bowling's about, really. There'll always be those that want to win and there'll always be those that just want to play. Mark Ellis opens up with front three. Roald Monson with front five now. And Mo says he thinks he should get age pins for all the years you've been playing in the sport. And he's into his 55th. I think you should get based on pins on where you come from in the country. Northerners get 50 pins, Southerners get 25. How about that one? Let's be controversial. It's a bit cold in here at the back. My nose is cold. And an open frame from Monson. 9 miss in frame 6. The wheels have fallen off that bus. Brian Gillespie adds another strike for a double 60 in the third with a double working. It'd have been nice to see a few more English seniors over for this tournament, though. Is there any reason why you guys don't play the Irish Open? I know there was a senior Irish Open, wasn't there, at some point? But is there any reason why you don't come over to the Irish Open now? You've got the talent to perform at this level still, a lot of you. And the cut is a good 80 positions, so... So Chelsea on 75 in the fourth with strikes in the fifth and sixth. Gavin Fox on 76 in the fourth with a double working. Mo says in Europe you get all your age pins, and each tournament has between 100 and 130 players. Yeah, it's good as that, if you're averaging that sort of a number. There you go, let's wind up the seniors then. Why don't we have live streaming at some of these European senior events? We could have like age-appropriate adverts and stuff. Shackleton High Seater and dentures and stuff. Make a bit of money from dentures.com. The Mobility Singles, live from Rhymes. Mudgy says, what, not my pension. Yeah, what about the Shackleton High Seater English Open? My niece got this from Shackleton's, you know. Bianca Wickrad on 4 in a row, 77 in the 4th with a 4-bagger working. And just coming up to the midway point of this 3rd game. Gavin Foxy Fox comes up a little bit light, leaves the 3-9. An open frame for Paul Gregg in frame 6 puts him on 107. 124 in the 7th for Chelsea. And Gavin just stepping up to pick up this sleeper pins. Yeah, nice pair. Just having a little chat with Brian Michael, sat at the back then. We were just talking about... Yeah, just talking to Brian Michael then about what young Chris Sloan did, Jen. Bowled back-to-back 300s at Alcy yesterday. And then actually went on for another squad and shot the front 10 again. Left a 10 pin, so 30 odd strikes in a row. So just coming up to the end of this third game. 225 for Alfonso Palestre from Italy. Bianca Wickerad with a 211. 202 for Jamie Alder. And the featured pair just about to finish. Chelsea can tap out for a 234. Mark Ellis can tap out for a 231, down on 11 and 12. All strikes in that game apart from 2 splits. Cost him an even bigger game. So just a frame or 2 away from the end of the game in the halfway stage. Chelsea adds another strike on lane 10. Makes it a turkey. So another 2 for that 234. Just inside, just outside third arrow then. Drills it into the pocket. A good finish from Chelsea. 184 for Scott Connolly, 192 for Turgid Christensen. Billy Nimick having a struggle in this one. 150 in the 8th with a strike in the 9th. Tap out for a 210. Mark Ellis puts the first one in. We'll stay with Chelsea for the end of this game and then we'll move over onto the top of the house there and just see what everybody's doing. So Chelsea finishes with 233. .207 for little Tanya Yousaf from Scotland. 208 for Selwyn Morgan. Tom Collins is going to finish with a 221. Brian Gillespie finishes with 203, Gavin Fox with 196. All scores will appear on the official website and via Talk 10 Pin and Badass Bowling 10 and 15 minutes after the end of the squad. Paul Gregg finishes with a 192. We'll take a short break. We'll be back very shortly after these messages.
Hey guys, I'm really excited about this new summer release from Seismic Bowling. This ball's called the Equalizer. This is what I was just cleaning up a little bit. This ball is laid out with a 60-degree drilling angle, 4.5 pin to pap distance, and 30-degree valve angle. What I've seen with this ball is just aggressive. It's just flat out aggressive from the foul line all the way to the pins. This cover, combined with the super high mass bias of the Tennessee core, creates a ball that's perfect for the longer, heavier oil patterns that we see in today's competition. Okay guys, you just saw the Equalizer roll on both the rope 66 pattern and on a house shot. This is a ball that equalizes a high rev roller and a low rev roller. So you don't have to work to get this ball around the corner. In fact, the more you relax, the better the ball will work for you. Nice and strong through the mid lane and aggressive with determination through the pins. The Seismic Equalizer, the new standard in heavy oil equipment. No way.
And we're back. So on your featured pair now, we have Selwyn Morgan, Tanya Yousaf, Caroline Horan, and Tom Collins. So sit back and enjoy the action for 5-10 minutes. We'll be back shortly.
even if I play 2 games, then you do what you come in to do. Well, 300 mate. How much for this? 210. I was 30 under the first 2 though.
So back on our featured pair, Selwyn Morgan with a spare strike, Tanya with a double, Tom Collins with an open frame and a spare, and Caroline Haran with a strike 9 spare. Gary Redpath from Scotland opens up with front 3, Paul McCauley with the front 2, and just stepping up for his 3rd frame now. 10 pin. Selwyn in the pocket for a double. Keep your comment and chat coming in. If you just joined us, you're watching the 27th Irish Open by Seismic live from the Leisureplex in Dublin, Ireland. Coming up to the end of qualifying in the next couple of squads, and we'll have the exciting Desperado, and then the final steps 1 and 2 today. So an action-packed bowling day. Brian Gillespie opens up with front 4. Paul Gregg with front 3. Let's go. A few of the Scots are on the charge now. Any predictions out there in the world? Who do you think is going to win? Who do you want to win? The hot favourite at the moment seems to be Chris Sloan. Back-to-back 300s at Alsa yesterday. 15-17 in this tournament. Top 24 place in the Brunswick Ballmaster last week in Finland at the Tarley Bowl. And it could be a breakthrough season for the young Irishman. A little Irish rover. Caroline Haran just looking to pick up this single pin. And does so easily enough. And Big Elco's just joined us at the back. Eating a banana. So with Selwyn now on lane 10, working a double, looking for a turkey. Yeah, good shot. And I was told he had a habit of going when he gets a few in a row, and he just did it then. Gary Redpath adds another one for 4 in a row, and on the approach now, looking for 5. Comes up high, leaves a split. Dutch international Bianca Wickerad struggling a little bit on lane 11, former winner of the Malta Open. You don't see her playing so much around Europe. Almost manages to carry the pins. Leaves a single pin. Little Tanya Yousaf then in the blue and white shirt. Just comes up high, leaves 2 in the corner. Yeah, Tanya last year, top 4 placing in the World Championships, the highest position by any Scots person in a major championships, I believe. Just missed out on a Masters medal. Was it Masters or all events? And picks up a spare. One of the brightest young hopes for the future of Scottish bowling at the moment, certainly on the female side. We've got a host of young Scotsmen plying the trade and trying to improve. I'm told the STBA are restructuring all their coaching. Oh, and a 7-10 pocket shot from Selwyn. Boing. Scotland actually have a new coach. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to divulge that information yet, so I'll check with that. But they have got a new coach up there, so expect a press release at some point. He's a former international and medalist in major championships. So halfway through game 4. A shout out again to all our lane sponsors this year. Mayo at Home, TGA Fridays, Rocks Jewelers, Crumlin Print, Eco Hygiene, Cool Tech Refrigeration, Dublin Food Sales, Frylight, Glen Ely Foods, Mayo, Starbucks, and also the Stillorgan Orchard and Stillorgan Park Hotel, where I'm staying. Very nice hotel. Selwyn back on strike after that open frame. 106 in the 5th with a strike working now in the 6th. And certainly in the middle of the house, doesn't look to be many players on strings of strikes. Looking further afield down the bottom end, it looks to be the same. Nobody really setting the world on fire in this particular game. Keep your comments in chat coming in. Gone quiet on the chat. Are you still there? Let's have a discussion about something. Somebody post something to discuss. And Tanya picks up a spare, 104 in the 5th with a spare working in the 6th. Yeah, let us know what you think of the stream so far. Is it coming across okay? Is there anything we could be doing better? Anything you want to see? We're having a little chat yesterday, Simon and myself. Already looking at what we could possibly do next year. Should we be invited again? We would like to try a green screen, a virtual studio So we're hopefully going to maybe set up an area at the back, put the green screen up, and get squad winners up there and interview them with graphics and video going on behind them.
We've got a camera there, so we kind of switch between the two from time to time.
Somebody's asking about the camera setup here and which lanes we are showing. We're kind of sticking with 9 and 10 to a degree, but we do switch over to the other side as well from time to time. I believe the finals are going to be on 9 and 10, so we've got a grandstand position. Looking forward to the final, whoever makes it. We will have some guest commentary for the final. It's unlikely that I will be doing it. I usually step aside and we bring some of the players that have been on the lanes that are now out of the tournament to comment on the final. They give a much better insight into the way the lanes are playing and the balls being used. And Simon and myself, Simon will do the technical side and I will likely man the camera. But definitely a team effort this week. Dutch Bowling TV and Talk Tempin teaming up yet again. We hope to do that again later on in the year in Malta again. But if anybody out there in Europe wants a little bit of live streaming, we're cheap. We'll come over for flights, accommodation and food. That's pretty standard. So just coming up to the end of the game on some of the lanes. The featured pair still with 3 frames to go. And welcome to a few new people on the chat that have not actually chatted yet, but they're in the chat room. Paul Meeker, Peter Burt, Badger 54, split there from Tanya, unfortunately. Oh, and a swishing Brooklyn strike from Selwyn. 146 in the 7th. Let's have a look at the other side of the house and see what's happening there. And good morning to Paul Meeker. Good morning, Dom. This is Paul Meeker, Patrick's dad from Holland. I know who you are. Good to have you on again, Paul. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. as we watch Tanya come through the face and leave a big split. Just struggling a little bit. So 146 in the 7th for Selwyn Morgan, 95 in the 5th for Tom Collins, but a turkey working. 149 for Tanya Yousaf in the 8th, now 156 in the 9th after that open. 124 in the 7th for Caroline Haran. And Paul on the chat says, you're doing very well, my compliments. Oh, thanks, Paul. Appreciate that. I do try. I'll be honest with you, although it's not something I totally enjoy doing. It's long hours and stuff. But I'm one of those that I want to see a tournament start to do streaming, and whether they use me in the future doesn't matter to me, as long as they start streaming the event. The idea is in Ireland really to show them what's possible, and hopefully they will develop their own streaming team over here to do the Irish tournaments. A bit like the Dutch really, showed Marco how to do it, and now he streams all the Dutch tournaments. So it's a case of go to a country, show them what to do, and let them get on with it really. There's no reason for an Englishman like me to travel around Europe and do the streaming when we can have streaming teams across Europe doing the job. I'll happily promote any live stream on Talk Tempin. It doesn't really matter who does it, as long as somebody does it. Uh, 222 for Gary Redpath, 194 for Tony O'Hare. 201 for Chelsea van der Laar. Gavin Fox with a 186. Hey, yeah, the other thing about my streaming is I'm not as educated as I used to be on the technology on the lanes now, the different balls that are being used, the differentials and whatever that means. I'm kind of like a lot of you guys at home. It's all alien to me. But that's why we pull in the guests during the finals, to get a good insight for those people out there that want the technical side of streaming. I find you can get a little bit too technical. Not everybody understands what transition means, and pin up, pin down, all those things. So a disappointing game from Tanya there, 165, 198 for Selwyn Morgan. 206 for Greg Marcus, 194 Tony O'Hare, 213 for Gaikis. And Paul says there, good sound, good commentary, well done. Thank you. Yeah, when I secured this gig about a month or two ago, my first thought was, let's team up with Dutch Bowling TV. I knew Simon was coming over, and it made sense to team up and put the stream on the Dutch Bowling TV as opposed to Talk Tempin one. I'm all for partnership. We're not quite at the level of Bowling Digital yet with the super slow-mos and stuff like that, but we will be doing some action replays and stuff in the finals. We were messing about yesterday actually with a new patch for the software that we've got here that would allow us to walk around with an iPad and film wherever. We could basically go down to the lane and do roving reporter stuff. So if we can get that working in the next 24 hours, we're maybe going to give it a try on Sunday. Do like to push the boundaries of what's possible and Kind of, it'd be nice to have another person just to walk around with that iPad, and every so often we can go down to the lanes and have a quick chat with a couple of the players or something like that. Oh, wow. I've just got in front of me a 10-pin Sport from 1972. International Brian Michael strikes in his major city march at Wembley last month after scoring 646. Prior to his 765 series at the ABC Bowl North Harrow in the Booth Gin League. That's cool. Yes, a lot of old 10-pin magazines have appeared. We're going to get access to them at some point to put in the UK timeline that we're building at the moment. Copite forever says, come on Selwyn, gobble, gobble, gobble. Video is excellent, keep up the good work lads, thank you. And Paul Meeker asks, are the Belgian bowlers like Ziggy Meilemans and Marwan Ernoud on the lanes at the moment? No, they're not. I'm not sure I've seen the Belgian bowlers yet. Our southern neighbours and funny guys, he says. Yeah, I saw the two Belgian players on the list, but I don't actually think I've seen them yet. I've not looked. I don't think they're on the standings at the moment, so maybe they've not played yet. So we're just going to take a short break and then we'll be back in a few moments after this message from one of our sponsors.
Oh man, where's everybody at? Man, this guy comes all this way and he's not even here. What is going on? It's empty. What in the world? Yo, let me in, man. Let me in. Let me in. What's in the box? Hey, what's in the box? Yo, anybody got a key to this room? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm just kidding, Sean. It's your new ball.
Oh, cool, thank you. Hey Seismic fans, I'm really excited, as I always am, about any new release from Seismic Bowling. This ball is called the Photon. It's a departure from what we've seen in the past with Seismic Bowling. It's a low flare ball, it's got a super high RG. So I was curious, Ryan, what was the philosophy when making this ball?
Okay, so with the Photon, we were looking for a ball in the arsenal that was a little bit milder, more for lighter oil conditions, as the shot moves inside, as the shot breaks down. Or like today, where the surface of the lane is a little bit higher friction, and you want a ball that's going to push down the lane more, grab hard in the back end, like you would see with a symmetric core ball, but we wanted that in an asymmetric core ball so that you're still getting the heavy roll in the back end through the pins that you would see from an asymmetric core ball. So with the Photon, we took our fastest revving core, the horn core, we raised the RG, lowered the differential, which is going to decrease the overall flare, but kept the mass bias at about half of what we've seen in all the rest of the horn cores. So what you're going to see on the lanes is pretty good push down the lane, not too much mid lane, but it's still going to roll very strongly through the end of the mid lane, onto the back end, and through the pins, and that's going to increase your carry, increase your score.
Wow, that sounds great. Hey, let's go see what it looks like on the lanes.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's do it.
And we're back again. Hope you're enjoying the videos at the moment that are coming from Seismic Bowling. Pretty funny. I've been mentioning the latest rotor grip video as well. I don't know if you've all seen it. With Stu Williams and Wes Malott in there. It's a really good video. Do a search on the rotor grip Facebook page for the latest rotor grip video. Really good. So on your featured pair now, Alfie Hall, Kev Horton, Vytautas Gaikis and Peter Lyburn, or is it Lyburn? Lilburn. And welcome back to the 27th Irish Open Tenpin Championships by Seismic, live from the LeisurePlex in Stillorgan, Dublin, Ireland. We're into game 5, and we welcome Seismic Sean on the chat. We had the pleasure of Sean's company on the stream yesterday. We learned a little bit more about him, and hopefully we'll get him on again closer to the finals, unless of course he's in the finals, which is more than possible. Very stylish American player, and is the star of the videos you've been watching. Yeah, just went quiet for the last 5 minutes because there's been some old bowling magazines and newspapers appeared, so I was just taking a couple of photographs from them, and I'm just uploading them to our Talk Tenpin Facebook page now. We do like a little bit of a blast from the past. Big believer in to know where you're going, you need to know where you've been. So at the moment, I'm in the process, together with Keith Hale, international bowling writer, formerly of Bowler's Journal. We're working on a UK timeline, which will chart bowling's history from the very beginning right up to the present day, including all the gold medals, World Cups, World Championships medals, when bowling balls first appeared in the country, that kind of thing. That will be going live sometime this year when we get to a stage where it's kind of ready to start showing. We've been giving little previews of the pages. We've got about 130 entries at the moment. We want to get it up to about 250 to 300 entries into the timeline, and it will serve as a reference point for media and anybody else that wants to learn about tenpin bowling in the UK. And we also encourage other countries, once they see it, to have a crack at it and build their own timelines for their country. It's actually a free program, a Google spreadsheet, and very easy to input the information. And it produces a nice looking timeline that you can embed on any website. So for those that like a little bit of a blast from the past, if you go to the Talk Tenpin Facebook page now, I've just uploaded an old photograph from the 70s of Brian Michael, who is the coach here this week for the current leader of the tournament and the guy that bowled 2 300s yesterday back to back, young Chris Sloan. Brian Michael was a world champion in the doubles in, I think it was 74, 75, I can't remember now, I've got the details somewhere. He was also the coach of England in the 90s, which saw the country absolutely dominate in major championships in the EYC and elsewhere. And a question there from Seismic Sean. What do you think about bowling becoming an Olympic event? I think it could possibly happen now. I like what Kevin Dornberger's doing. He's putting everything in position to make us a stronger sport within the IOC. And I think there's every chance that it could happen. I know the last 2 or 3 years people thought bowling's never going to be in the Olympics, but there's a chance. There's definitely a chance. And I think the sport needs it, basically. I mean, it's pretty poor when Olympic sports take preference over other sports, and they only run for 2 weeks every 4 years. But in our country alone, you win a gold, silver or bronze, you end up meeting the Queen and getting a medal. And to me, that's wrong. That's just one tournament and you win yourself a medal. when we've got people like Don Barrett and Paul Moore and Stu Williams and Zara Giles and Kirsten Penny, and they've won things for years and years and years, and they don't get that. I think it's pretty shocking that the Olympics is so highly rated in that sense. But you've got to be in it to win it, so if the game is to join it, then that's the game we need to play. What do you think, Sean? Do you kind of agree with that, or do you think we'll get in or not? What does everybody else out there? Do you think we're going to make the Olympics? The other thing I actually think about the Olympic ideal and ideas is I always thought that bowling was kind of a winter sport in a way, because it's played more or less from September through, I don't know, up to about May, June, and then a lot of leagues and stuff kind of have summer off unless they have a summer league. So it kind of made sense to me to make it, with it being an indoor sport, put it in the Winter Olympics. It's probably easier to get in there, but then does everything have to involve ice and snow, and or should we just build up the ice bowling and we'll all go ice bowling? Seismic says, thanks for that perspective, I agree. There are so many great competitors around the world. It would be nice. Let's just say that. But I do like what Kevin's doing. He's got my support, and I think he's onto something with the changing of the scoring, at least for an Olympic event. I know it wound up a lot of people. Oh no, they're not going to get a 300 anymore and all the rest of it. That's not really what he was saying and what he was looking at. He's looking at a format that works for TV, that works for the Olympics, that wouldn't necessarily be rolled out to the grassroots of the sport. It'll be something that it's just another format, really. I've not actually seen the World Bowling Tour finals yet. The mixed emotions about how it worked with the attempt of the new scoring in that. And I think, from what I understand, it counted against Sweden's Sandra Andersson. Actually, Sean, though, we were talking yesterday about naming bowling balls and all the rest of it. Have a good think about an Olympic ball of some kind. Try and name something within the Olympics now. Get it ready for when it does all kick off, if it does. I'm sure the name Olympics probably copyrighted, though, isn't it? You couldn't have the Olympic Dream or something like that as a bowling ball, or... Supermo says, wasn't it in the Commonwealth Games about 12 years ago when Richard Hood had a 300? Yeah, it was in the Commonwealth Games, but they've got the Commonwealth Championships now, so I don't think it'll get in the Commonwealth Games. It was also in Seoul, an Olympic exhibition sport back in, was it 86, I think? I've run a story on Talk Temping before about it being in the Olympics. And Leslie Gassman says, as long as there are no restrictions about materials used to compete, bowling could never be accepted into the Olympic Games. I think one of the things that's been put up before by people is that it's a game of luck in some aspect with the pin action. The pins don't always fall the same and that kind of thing. And I think there's some detractors out there that say it's a game of luck and it's not a sport and all the rest of it. And you guys are talking rubbish. It's a sport and always has been. It's also a leisure activity and always has been. So get with the programme. Now coming up to the end of this game. A 211 for Andrea Hansen, 248 for Chris Morn. On the featured pair, 154 in the 8th for Alfie Hall. But it looks like Vytautas Gaikis is the pick of the players on 179 in the 7th, with a strikes in 8th and 9th. All said and done, though, it would be pretty cool if we got in the Olympics. I think not least for the whole experience of it, walking out into the stadium with all the other athletes, and I bet that's it's just a dream to compete, really, whether you win or not. Just to be there would be something. Van Gogh says the only way it will be in the Olympics is if the Middle East introduce bowling as a new sport when they are host. Our scoring system is fine the way it is. That's not the problem, says Van Gogh. And Seismic Sean says, surely it is a sport. Just ask the competitors at the end of this week. The body tells us that we are competing. Aha. It's a sport. We all know it's a sport. We shouldn't even talk about, is it a sport or not? It is. We know it is. It's just idiots out there that say it isn't. Yet tiddlywinks or curling or handball or all those things are sports, allegedly. I heard a rumour, I'm not sure if it's true or not, but when handball's in the Olympics and the GB team don't have a handball association or something, or they didn't have a team, and they're actually advertising, do you want to come and play the Olympics? Just to be involved in it. So 213 for Alfie Hall. 258 for Vytautas Gaikas. And 215 if Peter Lilburn finishes up. Yeah, so finally on the Olympics, I think it's going to be another 8 or 10 years before we get it in, though, because I think everything's kind of set for the next couple of Olympics. Or I think there was word that they were going to change some of the sports and add sports, and I think the move from World Bowling to Switzerland is a very clever move. They're in amongst the other sports now of the IOC, and they've every chance to build relationships with other sports and support. So we're going to take a short break now, and we'll be back for the next game. So here's another word from our sponsors and the awesome Seismic bowling videos. Which one shall we have? Let's have this one.
You're late.
happy? Sean.
Yeah, we're happy.
Seismic fans, we now present the Venator. Venator comes from the Latin word meaning hunter. The Tennessee core is our most advanced core design to date. It is designed with consistency in mind. The core shape is modeled to allow for drilling with a strong pin placement and positive spin axis while reducing the amount of inner core material being removed. In turn, this reduces how much the ball's pre-drilled design specifications change after drilling. Pre-drilled, the Venator has a 35% stronger positive spin axis than our very successful horn core. The Tennessee core produces a high mass bias differential with more flare and mid-lane read than we've ever released. This video shows the Venator picking up its role in the mid lane and making a strong move to the pocket. In the true spirit of a hunter, the Venator makes its move attacking with strength and power, leaving the enemy simply devastated. Put the Venator in your hand and have no doubt, Seismic Bowling, earth-moving equipment.
I'm so happy to see you.
Seismic fans, we are now introducing the latest addition to the Tournament Special Edition line, the Euphoric TSE. The Euphoric TSE features the Overb core technology and the very durable and versatile Tournament Special Edition cover stock. The Euphoric TSE is polished with a radius of gyration of 2.55 and a differential of 0.055, creating 4 to 5 inches of flare potential. This is the 4th addition to the TSE line. This cover stock is proven to provide predictable ball motion characteristics while minimizing loss of reaction due to oil absorption, translating to higher strike percentages for longer periods. By adding this cover stock to the very successful Overb core featured in the Euphoric, we've created the combination of control of a symmetric core along with the strong continuation of the TSE cover. In a side-by-side comparison, you'll see the original Euphoric begin to start its transition to the hook phase earlier than its TSE counterpart. The TSE conserves its energy through the front and mid part of the lane, then releases its power at the breakpoint and all the way through the pins. The Euphoric TSE is the perfect benchmark ball for your typical league condition. Build your arsenal on this great ball. Control, consistency, continuation. Seismic bowling, simply devastating.
And welcome back to the 27th Irish Open by Seismic, live from the Leisureplex in Stillorgan, Dublin, Ireland, into the last game of qualifying on the first squad of the day. And getting back to the little discussion we're having about the Olympics, Seismic Sean says we have to appreciate the conversation that is occurring around the sport, this growth of our sport. Our leaders are thinking creatively about it all. The next generation will figure it out. I'm hopeful. Yeah, I'm with you, Sean. I'm hopeful. I think they know what needs doing and they're having a go at it, so they need support, and we all need to be behind them regardless of what they come up with. You can't make an omelette without cracking some eggs, is a saying that we have. And Leslie Gassman says, of course it's a sport. The problem with bowling now is there's no standard for balls. There's too much difference in materials, and to make it fair a game you need technique on standard lanes and conditions were on the same for everybody. Not depending on which ball or brand you were playing with. and then you will have a chance to be accepted into the Olympics. Yeah, you're onto something in a way, but at the same time, just because a football's a football doesn't mean it's the same football. They're always developing balls that bend more, go further. Tennis rackets, for instance, wooden for a lot of years, and then they become metal and carbon fibre. And golf, that's another one. Technology is always going to advance, and just because you bowl with a particular brand of ball doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a winner. It still comes down to the talent of an individual, regardless of what they've got in their hands. Sure, you might get a ball that helps on a certain condition or helps a certain style of player, but for me, balls are not the problem, I don't think. I think pins are the problem. I think they fly too much. I think the centre of gravity of them needs lowering maybe, or the kickbacks and the flat gutters need to be not as shallow as they are. I think you can make them a little bit deeper, and when pins go into them, they don't come out again. I'd go with pins. I think pins are the problem. I don't think lanes or balls are the problem. Yeah, Leslie Gassman says, sure, but all the players at the World Cup are playing with the same ball, but they're not all playing with the same boots. But one thing's for sure, we could discuss it until the cows come home. And that's the beauty of discussion, that not everybody will agree and everybody will have their own ideas, and no one answer's right, no one answer's wrong. I think if we all pull together, and some of us will have to make sacrifices on our ideals and ideas, but at the end of the day, we all pull together and we try and make it happen. I did hear a story, I don't know if it's true or not, but the ABC years ago was approached by the IOC and the Olympic Committee, and bowling they wanted it in the Olympics, and I heard the rumour that the ABC said we're not ready for it or something, and it's never been in since. I don't know how true that story is. It's one of those bowling story whispers that you hear, and you don't know if there's anything in it. But yeah, I did hear that they were asked if they wanted to be in it, and they said they weren't ready for it, and that was it. They never got a chance thereafter. The other thing is the limited amount of sports allowed for those 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks. They need to open up to more sports, I think. Let's be honest, really, the infrastructure's in place. You don't need to go building massive bowling centres every time the Olympic turns up. We have got the infrastructure in place in a lot of countries. And out of all the sports that get built a new swimming pool, or they get built a new rowing area, or at least a bowling centre can be used again. No, the Olympic Village in England, in London, a lot of it got sold off. It's not like who did that benefit? It just benefited big business. Didn't really benefit any grassroots sports. So Simon Shepherd, Aidan Byrne, Patrick Yannick Sorensen and Donna Horton on your featured pair in front. Simon opens up with a double 8-miss strike. Aidan with a strike 5-3 split open double. Patrick Sorensen with a spare double 9 spare. And Donna Horton with a open frame 7-1 double, and she's got an 8 count, just looking to hit the spare. Keep your comments coming in. That was an interesting little discussion on the Olympics. Thanks for posting the question, Sean. And looking forward to seeing you again when you get in the centre today, sir. Are you playing another squad? Or have you done enough now to get yourself set for the finals? Mudgy 2000 says it's all about money, money, money. It's not a song title. Can you see where I'm going? Money, money, money. Always funny. In a rich man's world. Yeah, you're kind of right with that. It's it can be all about money. You imagine though, we get in the Olympics and then we have Coca-Cola and MasterCard and Nike and all those wanting to come into bowling. I always wanted to see a pair of Nike bowling shoes. They'd be awesome. I'm kind of not sure if the likes of Seismic, Rotor-Grip, Storm, Columbia, Ebonite, Brunswick, I wonder if they'd be too happy if Adidas and Nike started making bowling balls. But there's a crossover for you, Sean. Get in touch with Nike and see if we can have a Seismic tick. Which kind of leads us on nicely to the next thing of ball technology, really. What do you think the next innovation in bowling balls will be? Are they going to start putting sensors in a core so that you can bowl your ball down the lane and pick up your phone afterwards and read the telemetry? I don't think that's as futuristic as it sounds. You could probably easily put some kind of Wi-Fi thing in a bowling ball and get data from that ball. GPS, really, isn't it? Basically GPS in a bowling ball. So halfway through this last game, looking down the lanes, doesn't appear to be anything massive. Kev Horton's opened up with the front three. I don't think we've had a killer score in this squad. There might be a few 13s, but I don't think we're going to see a 14. So we've got another squad at 12:30, I think. That's when we're back again. Yeah, another thing about bowling balls as well. I had an idea. Let's do a partnership with Apple. Let's have an Apple ball. Let's have it all linked up to the iOS device. That'd be awesome. The iBall. for Simon Shepherd. Struggling, my partner in crime this week, doing the technical support. 91 in the 6th with a strike in the 7th. We'll pop over to the other lanes and see how they're getting on. Strike for Aidan Byrne on this featured pair. Gives him a double and 95 in the 5th. But the pick of the bunch, or the pick of the litter, seems to be Patrick Yannick Sorensen with 129 in the 6th. Getting a bit busy now in the centre. People starting to appear, coming to watch some of the play, and it's been around the centre ready for the next squad, which comes in about an hour and a half's time. We will of course be leaving the streaming running and sticking on the dance music, so if you want to rock to the beats while we come back, that's fine by us. So Jamie Alder finishes with a 177, Alex Fraser with a 184. Looks like 13 and 14 are going to be the last to finish. They've still got about half a game to go, whereas the rest of them are just coming up to the 9th and 10th frames. Now, I'll pose one more question then until the end of the squad. Who's the best bowler in the world right now? In your opinion, who is the best bowler in the world right now? Anyone? Simon Shepherd adds another strike for a turkey in frames 7, 8 and 9. 91 in the 6th. Patrick Yannick Sorensen with 166 in the 8th. Aidan Byrne adds another strike for a turkey and looking for 4-bagger, 95 in the 5th. Who do I think is the best bowler in the world right now? Tough one. I'd be controversial actually, I'd say it's Korean. and it could be any one of the Korean World Men's Championship team this year. I say that because they don't travel like everybody else, but when they do, they win. And on the American side, you'd probably have to say Mike Fagan at the moment. And on the European side, Don Barrett. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Ooh, Lol Ellis having a string of strikes. Should we spin the camera around to Lollipop Ellis? So Lol Ellis on 97 in the 5th, but he's got 5 on the bounce now. Six. So 247 tap out with one more strike. Billy Nimick looks like he's on a string of strikes now, 137 in the 6th. With, is it Turkey or a 4-bagger? Can't quite see yet. Turkey. And Lol Ellis finishes with a 7 count for 244. Good block there from Lol. So just about finished. A couple of frames still to go on 13 and 14. As we watch Billy Nimick. Is it Billy? No, it's not Billy. It's oh yeah, it is. 240, 246. Holly says, I would agree about Don Barrett. What about Belmore? Well, is it almost a shoe-in for PBA Player of the Year this year? I don't know. The reason I didn't say Belmore, because he arguably is one of the best in the world at the moment, is purely that he didn't win a gold medal at the World Championships, which is considered to be the pinnacle of the sport, really. And it was mainly the Koreans that kind of dominated that one. But yeah, he's an awesome bowler, he's Belmore, and he's a nice guy. And he's also a good role model for the sport, and he's a good spokesman. He's the sort of guy that's going to get the sport noticed purely because he bowls with 2 hands, and he's very good with it. But he's not won the PBA World Championship yet, I don't think. Barrett won it last year, and Fagan this year. You kind of, if you're going to say who's the best in the world, it's usually a world champion. be it the PBA World Championships or the World Championships. It's a tough one. It's open to debate, and nobody would ever agree on who the best bowler in the world is. I think you'd probably have to say the best female bowler in the world at the moment is Diana Zavjalova. But then many would argue there's quite a few Asian and Singaporean and Malaysian players that could vie for that position. Not least the American girls as well. So that just about concludes this squad. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've had a few discussions, and don't hold it against me if you don't agree with my views. It's just my view. I'm always open to be educated. If somebody's got a better view, that's a view that I will take on. But again, an enjoyable squad. And we'll be back in about an hour's time for the next one. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you again very soon.
Hey guys, I'm really excited about this new summer release from Seismic Bowling. This ball is called the Equalizer. This is what I was just cleaning up a little bit. This ball is laid out with a 60-degree drilling angle, 4.5 pin to pap distance, and 30-degree valve angle. What I've seen with this ball is just aggressive. It's just flat out aggressive from the foul line all the way to the pins. This cover, combined with the super high mass bias of the Tennessee core, creates a ball that's perfect for the longer, heavier oil patterns that we see in today's competition. Okay guys, you just saw the Equalizer roll on both the rope 66 pattern and on a house shot. This is a ball that equalizes a high rev roller and a low rev roller. So you don't have to work to get this ball around the corner. In fact, the more you relax, the better the ball will work for you. Nice and strong through the mid lane and aggressive with determination through the pins. The Seismic Equalizer, the new standard in heavy oil equipment. No way.